There'll be no deal. Lauri Markkanen will not be a Golden State Warrior, but is it a big deal on today's Locked On Warriors?
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is the good word, everyone? Thanks for making Locked On Warriors the first listen of every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're free and available wherever you get your audio podcasts and streaming on YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, it's great to see you. Go ahead, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and while you're at it, hit the notifications so you know when we are live. On today's show, it's brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more as the playoffs and the Olympics wind down. The sports stop sporting like we want them to, but this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That is right. There is something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Kylen Mills with me, covers the Warriors for NBC Sports Bay Area, formerly of Cron 4. Myself, Charlie Walter, 95.7 The Game, KPIX in San Francisco. No deal. Is it a big deal? Lauri Markkanen will not be a Golden State Warrior. What is next for the team as they strike out, I guess voluntarily strike out on all the big stars they courted this offseason? The big move will not come. Lauri Markkanen, just your initial thoughts. I know that you were a lot more into getting rid of some of the young players, specifically Brandon Podziemski, than I was. So I want your take now as the deed is done. It is 100% not happening. We've hit August 7th.
It is frustrating is the first word that I think of, Charlie, because this Warriors team is short one star of being a team that's at least in a serious contender conversation or a deep playoff conversation. The big issue is they have not had a reliable secondary scorer behind Steph Curry. They need more star power. Klay Thompson goes on his way out. They brought in some ancillary pieces, some nice pieces, but they have not brought in that big player that this team needs to be competitive. And Lauri Markkanen was the best individual on the market. I know not everyone that I've seen in the comments, not all of Dub Nation was completely sold on Lauri Markkanen, but the fact that this deal was not done reportedly over Brandon Podziemski is mind-boggling to me. Mind-boggling to me.
Oh, we're going to have a good show, Kylen. We are going to have a good show because I completely disagree.
You have a once-in-a-lifetime star in Steph Curry.
Okay, I thought you were going to say Lauri for a second. I was like, oh.
No. I shouldn't say no like that. I shouldn't say no, but I'm not going to say that yet. I mean, I hope he goes on to have a great career. Let's remember he's still young and just coming off his first All-Star season. You have a generational talent in Steph Curry. Do the Warriors not owe it to him to do everything possible to maximize the last couple good years that he has? Do they not?
Yeah, they do. And I think they believe they're doing that by keeping the young players, because here's what happened. Come on. Let me do some of the details.
You think this is a contender?
And then we can go back and forth. No, I don't think it's a contender as of right now. But I don't think putting Lauri Markkanen on a team makes him a contender. I mean, until about 9 months ago, no one gave a damn about Lauri Markkanen because he was on a terrible team. He's been on terrible teams. He's a good player, don't get me wrong, but is he all that stands in the way of the Golden State Warriors hoisting number 5, or Steph Curry hoisting number 5? And the answer is
their best
probably
shot.
Not. Yes, he 1000% gives them their best shot, but let's just run through this entire thing so we can make a valid argument whether it's fair or unfair to criticize the Warriors for making this decision. They were the most aggressive team on the market, was Golden State, fighting with the Spurs and some others, however, not aggressive enough. The Warriors made the most aggressive offer, and I'm pulling this up for those of you on YouTube, and it was kind of a joke. The Warriors would get Lauri Markkanen, the Jazz would receive Moses Moody, who gets a lot of DNPs for the Golden State Warriors. They would get multiple first and second round picks, and they would get pick swaps. So this, I guess, makes sense in regards to the Jazz not wanting to pay Lauri Markkanen. Obviously they do, but if they were in a position where they did not want to pay him whatsoever and did not want to pay a Jonathan Kuminga, then you take on Moody and you get the draft capital, and you're essentially getting rid of one of your stars for multiple first-round picks. I mean, not a haul, but if the Warriors did happen to decline, those could be pretty good picks. The swaps in there, the second rounds. And then you get Moody, who do some teams believe in him? We'll see, because I think if anyone believes in him, he's probably going to be on the trade market. The fact that Golden State threw him in this deal and he was the only player that was thrown in the deal. But the Warriors did make the most aggressive offer. That was it, according to Shams. I do wonder if Kuminga was ever offered and if that would have gotten the deal done. But according to Shams, while Curry is the Warriors' current primary focus, Brandon Podziemski is their point guard of the future, according to the reports. The Warriors refused to include Podziemski in the trade for Markkanen. I mean, I see what you're saying, Kylen, but financials go into this. And not just financials. We're talking about Mini Manu. We're talking about Brandon Podziemski. I love me some Brandon Podziemski. When I die, I want it to say on my coffin, along with on the top, Chuck Walter believed in Brock Purdy before anyone else. Whitey Gleason, anyone from the 95-7 The Game team. It was kind of a running joke, but at the same time, it was a great take. This one, no running joke. This is just a take that I think is factual. Brandon Podziemski knows how to play the game the right way, plays bigger than his size. I was actually in San Francisco over the weekend, down in the city, and we were doing the old hopping around North Beach and some of those areas. And a bunch of people was like, and some Rockets fans too, not just Warriors fans. They're like, what's your fascination with Podziemski here? And I said, give me one reason you don't like him. And they all pointed to like, he's good, but and I'm like, well, what doesn't impress you about him? They're like, well, he's not that big. I'm like, well, he gets rebounds, right? They're like, yeah. I'm like, he gets a ton of rebounds for his size. He's great at it. One of the best at his position. Forget that. Takes charges on defense. That helps when
Rebounds
you're
and
undersized.
charges are winning you a championship. Sorry.
Shoots 38% from three, so he can shoot. You saw him in the summer league. Kylen, he's 21 years old. He's a damn rookie. Someone, please back me up here, but I'll give you the floor here.
The Warriors got worse today. They didn't get worse for the future, because there's something to be said for keeping the young players and for keeping those future draft picks. And you hope that most of them will pan out and go on to be good NBA players. But you don't know. At the end of the day, those draft picks are question marks. With Lauri Markkanen, something, and that's his body of work in the NBA, and specifically what he did last season when he was named an NBA All-Star. That is much more of a guarantee than a future draft pick in 2027 when you don't know what you're going to get. Draft picks, flat out, don't always pan out. James Wiseman. Enough said. You look at the history of the top 5 picks the Warriors have made, and that's immediately one that comes to mind that just didn't pan out. So there's no guarantees with those future picks, but I do think that there's something to be said for needing to still build towards the future. But at the same time, I'm going to go back to my same point that Steph Curry is a generational talent who only has a couple of years left. I don't hate this move for the Warriors organization overall. Like, sure, this is the direction they're deciding to go. They're going to just invest in the young players, give them opportunity and long leashes to develop this upcoming season, and they're going to see what happens. But at the end of the day, this is not going to be a contending team. And that's something that I sure hope Steph Curry is okay with. Otherwise, he could be walking out the door and he could be sick of it, because Steph has said at the Olympics and talking to the media, he's not okay with being on a team that's not competitive. I think the Warriors are competitive right now. I think they're a play-in team. I don't think they'll be above finishing 8th in the West. I really don't on paper. And to me, that is not doing Steph Curry justice. I will die on this hill. And I love that we have different viewpoints on this. So you know what, folks? If you're watching, you're listening, make up your own mind. I just think the Warriors should have gone all in now while they have Steph Curry. You've got plenty of time for the future. In the future, live in the moment. Nothing is guaranteed. Steph Curry could play one more season and get hurt in 2 years and never play again. And this could be the season they won a championship with Steph and Lauri Markkanen. You don't know, and you'll never know if you don't go all in. But Curry is a player who is never going to come through this Golden State Warriors organization again. You are never going to see someone like Steph Curry again. He is a generational talent. He changed the game of basketball with the way he shot the 3 ball. There's not going to be a talent to his level within this Warriors organization for a very, very, very long time. Go all in. That's what I think they owe Steph. And, we don't owe Steph anything. Come on. This man is not only a generational talent, he is a good person. He is a good leader. He is a friend to all. He is genuine. He is humble. Like, you look at some of the superstars and other teams and the things they demand and the way they act and some of the diva attitudes. You look at a Kevin Durant who goes around hopping from organization to organization and is constantly unhappy. You constantly have to be tiptoeing around him and making sure that, everything's going well. Like, Steph Curry has to be the most low maintenance star with his level of talent in the NBA. I mean, I'm trying to think if there's anyone else, but just absolutely unproblematic.
All right, coming up, we're continuing to talk about this. A lot to break down. Brandon Podziemski would have been the mover in this deal to pick up Lauri Markkanen. The Golden State Warriors decide not to go with it. When your schedule's packed with kids' activities, big work projects, and more, it's easy to let your priorities slip. We know what makes us happy. It's just hard sometimes to make time for it. Life is busy, but when you feel like you have no time for yourself, non-negotiables like therapy are more important than ever. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/LockedOnNBA to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. All right, so the Golden State Warriors will not have Lauri Markkanen this upcoming season. Sure, it would be nice to have a 7-footer that knocks down nearly 40% of his threes, averages around 25 points per game, and seems to be hitting his stride right now. I understand 1,000% what my colleague Kylen Mills is saying right now. I just think that the price was a little bit too high, even with just Brandon Podziemski, because I think Podziemski gives you the financial freedom to make moves in the future. It gives you the financial freedom to see what Jonathan Kuminga is made of this season and to decide whether you are going to extend him that offer or not, because you bring in Lauri Markkanen and it seems like unless you're flipping Wiggins, because he's kind of the wild card there. If you're not flipping Wiggins, then good luck making all those things work in terms of finances. But the Warriors right now have 14 players under contract for next season. They do feel comfortable entering training camp in the regular season with the roster as constructed, the team sources have said, though they are expected to explore some smaller scale deals more actively than is typical in August and September. So we may see the roster fluctuate a little, but in terms of the big hitters, the sexy names, the Warriors will not be getting involved in anything sexy this offseason. Although Buddy Hield, that jump shot's pretty sexy. I'll tell you what. They've shown no appetite to enter the Zach LaVine or Brandon Ingram market. So for those of you that are saying, no, just go out there, pay the money for Ingram, it sounds like it's not going to happen. LaVine, it sounded like that wasn't going to happen for quite some time. So any other trade options? There is one. Valanciunas of the Washington Wizards, according to Sean Devaney of Heavy.com. He's a veteran center, and this looks like Valanciunas can't be moved until December. So here's the deal here. Valanciunas, someone that averaged 12 points on 55% shooting last year, 8.8 rebounds, and 23 and a half minutes per game. It sounds like a package of Looney, Moses Moody, and maybe a second-round draft pick could get the deal done for that. So I went to thinking a little bit more and thought, all right, the Warriors could potentially use some help this season if they're hovering around being solid and they want to make that push, and they just need to shuffle some deck chairs a little bit, get some different types of players in and see if they can maximize Steph Curry's window with just a different nucleus. But get this one, Kylen. You throw Andrew Wiggins into the fold potentially in December. And then on the other side, the exact same contract pretty much. You could throw Kyle Kuzma into that deal, and you could get Kuzma and you could get Valanciunas, and you'd be trading away Looney. You'd be trading away Moody. You'd be trading away Andrew Wiggins, and you'd probably be trading away maybe a first-round draft pick in there as well. Now, I don't know if the Wizards would do it, but if you throw in that first-round draft pick, it does get enticing. You pair Andrew Wiggins with Jordan Poole again. The Warriors would add in a scorer of 23 points per game and Kyle Kuzma and a big 6'9" frame. What do you think of that? Is that some fool's gold, or is that something that, maybe could be an option down the road? At least the Valanciunas look.
I don't hate that. I don't hate the idea. And in terms of the players moving out for what you're getting, I don't think what you just described in that situation would be a bad move for the Warriors. My issue is that I don't know that I see it happening. After seeing the reports come out that the Warriors are not interested in Brandon Ingram, not interested in Zach LaVine, the LaVine thing makes more sense. Although LaVine is one of those players where the stock is so low right now, no one wants him. You can bring in a superstar who's even a question mark. Like, I get because of his health concerns, it's no guarantee that he's going to work with the Warriors, and then his defensive capabilities are another concern. But still, you could be getting potentially a major plus in the offensive side of the ball for dirt cheap right now. So I don't see how you don't at least entertain the conversation. I'm not saying get rid of any key future piece. The Bulls are giving away Zach LaVine. Like, they are trying to offload him for nothing. So, I mean, why not at least play with the idea? And then Brandon Ingram, I have said on this show for a while, I don't think is a bad option to bring in another 3-and-D type of dude who can reliably score 20 plus per night. Another player maybe with some defensive concerns because he doesn't seem to always apply himself and just be focused or locked in on defense. But I believe a player like a LaVine or an Ingram can be positively impacted by the Warriors' culture and their defensive system. And tell you what, I'm not slacking off on defense if I've got Draymond Green yelling in my face about where to go. So I don't hate the idea of entertaining conversations with either of those organizations in pursuit of those players. And it's kind of a head scratcher to me that the Warriors wouldn't even consider it. To me, mostly Ingram. Like, you wouldn't even consider it. You wouldn't even entertain it.
It's finances. It's setting up things for the future. It's looking in the mirror right now and saying, okay, well, guess what? Only one team wins a championship. And I hate that, I hate that Steph Curry could be potentially going out with a team that is not a serious contender. I think they're going to be solid. And I think it's a team that's going to grow. They're young, and let's see what they do. Add in an Ingram or add in a LaVine. These are names. These guys can play. They can score. Don't get me wrong. Ingram's a great player, but every contender has a couple of Ingrams, I mean, there are just teams out there that are lethal right now in the league. And the Warriors, if Podziemski and if Jonathan Kuminga and if Trace Jackson Davis and the homegrown guys and Wiggins doesn't step up and the homegrown guys don't take serious leaps this upcoming season, then it's looking ahead to the future and bringing in Brandon Ingram and his massive contract that he's going to be expecting, to me, isn't necessarily the move. I just think you kind of wait. You play the cards that you have this current moment. You see if the players that you clearly believe in, because they could have gotten market. And like you said, for just attaching Podziemski to the picks, every few months, things are changing in the NBA. Stars start to pop up as available. Next thing you know, Giannis is tired of Milwaukee. He's tied to the Bay. Guess what happens? You bring in Brandon Ingram, you're not getting Giannis. That's not happening because you don't have the finances to do it. That's why I say keep the flexibility, keep it alive, keep the young players and the assets that you have, unless you think you have someone that can get you over the top and be on the Boston Celtics level and be on the Oklahoma City Thunder level. If not, just take it one day at a time. And I think the Warriors are doing the best they can with what they have. This doesn't come down to this offseason. This comes down to the fact that they paid Poole way too much after one very solid season. They gave Wiggins the money too. They paid Draymond. They just spent a lot of money. Steph Curry, the Olympic United States decoy right now. We're discussing coming up. Kylen, I'm a big fan of sports. You know that. Unfortunately, this time of the year, the sports just they're not great. I take that back. We watch the Olympics. They are great. FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open up the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most of your summer. FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. United States with a big win over Brazil, and I mean big. They beat them pretty good. Guy Santos, I think he scored 7 in the game. Doesn't matter. All that matters is the United States with a 122-87 win over Brazil. Steph Curry only had 7 points in the game, spent the majority of the second half enjoying the view from the sidelines, just 2 or 3 shooting. Kevin Durant continues to make his case as the greatest basketball player in Olympics history. He passed Lisa Leslie for most career points by a Team USA member, men's or women's. Durant had 11 off the bench. But Steph Curry, one of the things that I found very interesting is a quote that he said after the game. A lot of my job on this team is to create attention and open up shots for other guys. I'm not getting a lot of shots. So as long as I keep cutting hard and playing off the ball, somebody is going to get a good look. And that's what we've heard so much this offseason in the Olympics is the talk about gravity for Steph Curry and how he opens up the floor and spaces things. Could Buddy Hield do that a little bit for the Warriors this season? We're not talking about that enough. I think he absolutely will. But yeah, the United States with a big time win in that game. What do you want to talk about, Kylen? The floor is yours. This is co-host choice where we spin the wheel and you get to talk about whatever you want.
I wanted to chime in about the entire situation of the Warriors not pursuing Brandon Ingram and Zach LaVine because I did have a back end of my point I wanted to get to. That's the fact that the Warriors aren't even entertaining those conversations because there is no perfect player out there in the trade market right now. They are absolutely flawed. Your point is true on all of that. But the fact that the Warriors aren't even entertaining those conversations tells me that they aren't actively trying to get better. They're not actively trying to make this roster better. Even if they're 2 pieces away and not 1 piece away, like you're saying, should they not be doing everything in their power to make those 1 or 2 moves happen, regardless of the salary constraints, regardless of the extraneous factors that make it difficult to sign and bring in multiple players to a team that's already over the first tax apron and trying to avoid the second tax apron? Yes, but that doesn't mean you can't have conversations. It doesn't mean you can't at least explore what's out there. It doesn't mean you can't pursue some of these different options or at least, like I said, have the conversation, just see where it goes. The fact that they're not even interested in doing that, according to reports out today, Shams Charania, I believe, was the first to report that the Warriors weren't entertaining conversations about Brandon Ingram or Zach LaVine, tells me that the Warriors are okay with this team being a play-in team this upcoming season and with riding the young players into the future of what this organization will look like, even if that means they're not a competitive team. Now, I think I say competitive, and I'm saying a top 6 team in the West. I don't think they're there. I think they're an 8 seed in the West. I mean, maybe bump it up 1 or down a couple, depending on how Jonathan Kuminga, Brandon Podziemski, and Moses Moody develop, and Trace Jackson Davis, like the young core. If some of those guys suddenly go off and elevate, like, yeah, maybe, but I still, even with those young players,
Kylen, you're forgetting. You're forgetting.
You're
forgetting someone. You're forgetting someone. You're forgetting our guest tomorrow, Daquan Plowden. Come on, subscribe and hit notifications. He's coming on the show, so you got to be a subscriber to see Daquan. But my point is, pulling him up, you don't know. I don't want to make predictions on what seed the Warriors are going to be and whether they're going to be good. I mean, here's the deal: if Mini Manu comes out, okay, if Mini Manu comes out and is a baller, and Steph Curry's still in the lineup, and you got 2 little guards right there knocking down 40% of their
2
threes.
little guards that are defensive liabilities. Like, I like all these young players, not knocking them. I think they have a ton of potential. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be fun to watch them play, fun to watch them develop. The Warriors are still going to win some basketball games. I just don't think they're a top 6 team in the West.
I want your take on Curry the decoy, though. Steph's comments. I'll pull him back up for you. Basically saying that he isn't looking to score, really. His job on this team is to create attention and open up shots for other guys. As long as I'm cutting hard and playing off the ball, somebody's going to get a good look. And I think that quote right there has to at least excite Warriors fans about the potential of a few more years, if he were to be on competitive teams and actually wanted to finish his career with the Warriors and could go till he's 40 years old, he is someone that with his gravity is going to open up the floor and space the floor a lot, regardless of how much volume he's putting up, just because you have to spy him at all times, because even when that guy's 80, he's going to be able to put the ball in the bucket.
I don't know if there's a strong take about Steph Curry. I think that, of course, he's going to have gravity. Like, duh. Have you not seen what he's done in the NBA? It makes total sense. And with Team USA, this is a group where everyone can score. Everyone can hit shots. And if Steph can draw a couple defenders and open up an opportunity for someone else, why not? He's a team player. He's not a guy who has to have the ball in his hands, as he pointed out with his quote. I think it just shows the team mentality that Steph Curry has. That's why he's one of the greatest to ever do it, one of the greatest, like I said, just in terms of the personality piece to ever play the game of basketball. So no surprise that he said that. I mean, like I said, obviously he has gravity. If he's not purposely hunting his shot, I don't know that people need to be super concerned about the Olympic numbers, which I know has been a talking point, that Steph Curry's cooked because he's not putting up 20 plus in the Olympics. It's a different style of game. It's a more physical game. And at the end of the day, Steph Curry's getting older. So, you know, it may not play to his strengths, but I'm not too worried about it. I still think he'll be elite in the NBA season.
All right. Remember, everyone, on my tombstone, Mini Manu, going to be a stud. Come at me in the comments. Kylen Mills, Charlie Walter. Tomorrow, Daquan Plowden
Big guest, Chuck.
That's August 8th. Yeah, looking forward to talking to him. I actually, in the text chain that I'm in with him, I hit him with a, hey, Daquan, two fellow Mac guys here. I went to Ohio U. And immediately got a text back with, probably shouldn't have led with that one. Never beat Ohio U. But anyways, Locked On Warriors, Kylen Mills and Charlie Walter. Give it the 5-star review if you like the show. Subscribe on YouTube. Give it that thumbs up. And we will talk to you soon. Peace.
Woo!